Peter Pan. Once upon a time, there was a family with 3 children, 1 girl and 2 boys. Wendy was the eldest child in the family. Wendy's brothers were John and Michael. The family also had a dog called Nana, who was the friend of the children. Nana was a member of the family. One night, their mother was surprised to see the leaves on the floor in the children's room. The window was open. The woman took the leaves and examined them. She understood that the leaves were the leaves of the carcass tree, which was not seen in that region. How did the leaves come here? She asked herself. Then she looked them more carefully. The window was open, and there were footprints on the floor. Mrs. Darling was confused. She didn't want to bring bad thoughts into her mind. She went to her bed after closing the window. In her dream, she saw a boy stepping in through the children's room window. The boy had an outfit made of carcass tree leaves. The weird boy had a strange source of light. This boy was Peter Pan. The woman screamed when she saw him. At that time, Nana came and started to bark. She jumped on the boy, who tried to get out of the window. The woman shouted when the boy fell down because she thought he was dead. Then she ran to the garden right away and looked around, but she could not find him. Then he looked upwards. She saw nothing but a sparkle that looked like a comet. When she returned to the children's room, she was astonished. Nana was pulling the shadow of the boy. Her husband wasn't at home. That's why she put the shadow in the drawers of the kids until her husband came. When he came home, she told her husband about the night. Her husband thought his wife was nervous and dreamed. She didn't try to convince him. She wanted to forget everything because it was a tiring night, so she could not talk about the shadow in the drawer. The children were sleeping in their beds without knowing anything. A few minutes later, another light appeared thousands of times brighter than the light of the nightlight. That bright light was spreading around by a fairy named Tinker Bell. Peter was with Tinker Bell. He came back to look for his shadow. Peter found his shadow in the drawer and took it. At that time, Wendy woke up. She looked at Peter and his shadow in confused eyes. "I'm Peter Pan, and this is Tinker Bell. Tinker Bell is a fairy. Since I was born, I live in the woods of Neverland. I'm the captain, and I don't want to grow up. I want to be a child forever," he said. Wendy remembered hearing the name of Peter Pan before. All the children knew him, but few met Peter Pan. Wendy felt lucky. "I am Wendy, and they are my brothers." Meanwhile, Peter Pan was trying to glue his shadow, but he couldn't. "Wendy, maybe I can do it for you." This made Peter very happy. Peter told them there were children without parents in his hometown. "Peter, you can come with me if you want. You'll be friends of children in the Neverland, and you can tell them stories." Wendy was very excited. "And what about my brothers?" she asked. Peter told her that they could come too, and Wendy woke her brothers up. Wendy told her brothers, who tried to understand what was happening. She told them to be quiet. Peter told them to hold hands. Tinker Bell flew out of the open window. Then, by holding Wendy's hand, Peter sprinkled the fairy dust on the children. They used Tinker Bell's golden fairy dust to help them fly. Together with Tinker Bell and Peter Pan, they began to fly by following the golden arrows to the Neverland. The adventure was just beginning. Flying was incredible. Along the way, the children had seen wonderful natural beauties. They passed over the green forests and the deep blue seas, and they finally came to the Neverland. They were excited. Everything looked very well and amazing, but in this glamorous place, they saw some spooky, dirty men. Peter said these spooky men were pirates. Their captain was the cruel pirate Captain Hook. Meanwhile, Wendy's brothers, John and Michael, had noticed the iron hook hand of Captain Hook. They showed him to Peter. Peter Pan said, in the past, they had a big fight with the captain, and that he had a hooked prosthesis replaced by his torn hand. "Listen to me, children. Captain Hook is cruel and dangerous. Stay away from him. If you don't leave me, he can't do anything to you," he said. Captain Hook and his men were looking for Peter everywhere. "I know. They are somewhere very close to me. Let's go to the beach and find the missing children and Peter. They are somewhere around here. I can feel," Captain Hook said angrily. In the absence of Peter, the children on the island were keeping watch. The island was usually calm. Pirates had not found the place yet where the children live. Children had animal costumes on them, so they could hide easily in a dangerous situation. When they heard the voice of Tinker Bell, they looked up. When they saw the three strangers next to the fairy and Peter Pan, they were worried. Since the children thought they were in danger, they threw arrows at Wendy and her brothers. One of the arrows got stuck in Wendy's heart. Tinker Bell was so angry with the kids, and she carefully dropped Wendy down. The children were very upset and regretful. A little later, John and Michael came with Peter Pan. Seeing Wendy was wounded, Peter got very angry. He pulled out the arrow from her heart and put some fairy dust on the wound. Wendy got recovered soon. The lost children loved Wendy and her brothers very much. Wendy told her nice stories every day. The children became very good friends with Wendy and her brothers and had a very happy time together. The next morning, when Peter Pan landed at the seaside, a girl from the surrounding Indian tribe said that Captain Hook was looking for them everywhere. Captain Hook was getting closer to them. Peter Pan came back to Wendy and the kids. Meanwhile, Wendy and the children went on a hiking trip on the island. They had forgotten the danger. They were singing songs and enjoying this wonderful place. They wanted to go down to the beach. At that time, they saw a ship hidden by the sea rocks. It was a pirate ship. The children were worried and wanted to get away, but they were late. The captain and his men immediately surrounded them. Captain Hook and the guys arrested Wendy and the kids. Wendy silenced the crying kids. "Don't worry, Peter will save us," she said. Her words made the captain angry. "I don't want to hear about Peter Pan again on this ship," he shouted. Kids and Wendy became silent. Now, they were a pirate's prisoners. They began to pray that Peter Pan was not late. Wendy was blaming herself. If I had listened to Peter's words, maybe this wouldn't have happened, she thought. In the meantime, Tinker Bell noticed the pirate ship, quietly went downstairs to observe. She was so scared when she saw the kids next to the captain. She flew away in fear and went to tell Peter what had happened. Tinker Bell quickly found Peter and told him what she had seen. They flew to the ship together. When Peter saw Wendy and the children on the deck, he immediately went down to them and shouted, "Children, be careful! Stand back!" When Captain Hook heard Peter Pan, he pulled his sword right away. Meanwhile, Tinker Bell tried to make a gator sound. She knew that Captain Hook was afraid of crocodiles. Fortunately, the captain was scared of the sound. He gave orders to his men. "I heard the sound of a crocodile. We are in danger. There could be a crocodile around. Get ready." Captain Hook had completely forgotten about Peter Pan and the children because of the crocodiles. Peter took advantage of this. He sprinkled with fairy dust on children. Together, they flew towards the sky. Wendy, John, and Michael missed their parents too much. They told Peter they wanted to go home. Peter Pan didn't want to leave them. Wendy, "Here is very nice here, but we have to go. Our family must be very curious about us. But you can come with us if you want." All the children immediately accepted. All they wanted was a family. Their parents were very happy to see their children. They said to the missing children, "Welcome. See you soon," said Peter and Tinker Bell before they flew to the Neverland.